In the village of Oniko, there lived a powerful herbalist named Amorin. He was a very powerful herbalist whom people thronged from near and far places to come and patronize due to his great powers and efficacy of his charms and services. He was said to have powers and abilities to communicate with supernatural beings, rivers, trees, rocks, hills, caves, mountains, animals, moon, sun, stars, rainbow, leaves, and bugs. He inherited the special supernatural powers from his ancestors who were fairies and jinns. He was a huge, tall, and dreadlocked haired, barrel-chested, handsome man with a baritone voice, yet he was a kind and friendly man. He has one beautiful and slim wife named Adufe, who bore two beautiful and intelligent children, a daughter and a son, named Ewatite and Oluwaromi. He usually wears native dresses with beaded armlets on his wrist and neck. Amorin lived in a mud house plastered with concrete with a roofing sheet and fitted with modern doors and windows in addition to all electronics used in the house. He lived peacefully with his neighbors in the village. Amorin was a favorite of all the villagers because he was kind and generous to everyone in his vicinity and beyond. Due to his popularity, generosity, and kindness, he was given many chieftaincy titles and positions by traditional rulers and his colleagues in trade. One fateful sunny day, the sun was shining brightly amidst a breezy cool air blowing around his expanse compound. A large hawk suddenly perched on the dining table from which Amorin was eating his lunch with his wife and children, and collected a morsel of food that Amorin wanted to put into his mouth from his hand with its long sharp claws and flew away at once. Amorin and his family were aghast and dumbfounded beyond explanation by the sudden strange scenario. They watched with their mouths agape as the mysterious bird of prey flew away from their presence into the sky. He regained consciousness after some minutes and went into his inner room where his power room and shrine was located and inquired from the gods where the strange bird came from. The gods told him that the strange bird came from the underworld and coven of red-clothed witches and wizards. It is sent to collect sacrifice from him. Amorin thanked the gods and bowed respectfully for them and went to tell his family what happened. They continued eating their lunch afterwards. 2 weeks after the strange incident, some Islamic clerics came to his house and told him to vacate his house and the village because they were cleansing the community of idolaters and their followers. They told him that if he doesn't want to leave the village, he must get converted to Islam or Christianity and turn over all his acquisitions to the community head. Amorin was livid upon hearing this order and told them to leave his house before losing his temper. They gave him 3 days leave ultimatum and left his house afterwards peacefully and quietly. Amorim and his family brooded over the matter throughout the day. After visiting the village head, who assured him that there is no cause for alarm, as the group of Islamic clerics that visited him at his house were not sent by him, and that he has no hand in their leave notice ultimatum. Amorim also inquired from gods what will happen, and they assured him that there is no cause for alarm, but with a warning that the group of Islamic clerics which came to his house meant everything they said and are hell-bent on achieving their end. On the second day after the visit of Islamic clerics, the strange hawk came again and dropped a piece of stick on the front door of Amorim's house in the morning. When Amorim opened the front door in the morning, he saw the stick on the floor and picked it up and put it in his trouser pocket. He mumbled some words inaudibly and exhaled noisily and went back into his house. He, his wife Adufe and children Ewatide and Oluwaromi started going about the day's activities afterward. Later in the afternoon, he inquired from the gods and deities in his shrine what to do with the piece of stick dropped by the hawk and found on his front door. The gods told him to keep it very well and break it into two. He is to bury each piece at the entrance and backyard of his house, respectively. The gods told him that each piece of the stick will ward off any intruder from his house and send electric shocks to the body system of any stubborn one among the intruders and trespassers that wants to bypass the embargo effects of the piece of sticks. Unfortunately, Amorim forgot to bury the piece of stick as instructed by the gods at the assigned places. In the midnight of the third day, some masked robe-wearing men came and gained access into the compound of Amorim. They came on foot and sprinkled the front door and the surrounding of the house with fuel from a container and ignited it with a lighter. They recited some religious mantra audibly before gaining entrance into his house forcibly. As shrill cries of pains, anguish, and sorrows came out of the house in quick successions to punctuate quiet night. The masked men laughed hysterically as the light burned brightly and consumed the house and its occupants. The masked men ran out of the burning building and scampered to safety. The masked men were 3 in number. In the following day, the news of the sudden death of Amorim and his family members had spread like Hamatan's wildfire all over the village of Onio and its environs. The news of mysterious death of Amorim in a midnight fire inferno even attracted a handful of newsmen from print and electronic media houses who came to cover the news. The mangled, burnt bodies of the Amorins were evacuated from the scene and taken away in ambulance by the policemen. In conjunction with health authority and coroner department of the government-owned teaching hospital, they were buried in a secret place 2 days after their gruesome murder by the villagers and some of their friends. With no members of their family in attendance, since they were not full-blooded normal human beings. Their corpses disappeared from the graves without any trace on the night of their burial. The corpses were taken away by the people from the spirit's world and underworld. 9 months after their burial and mysterious disappearance of their corpses from the graves, a grand mosque sprang up in their former home, and people prayed there 5 times a day. But unfortunately, on every Eid-Al-Adha festival day, any imam and his deputy that lead prayer for the congregation usually die mysteriously in the mosque while leading the prayer. This had been happening every year for the past 10 years with no solution until spiritual help was sought for from 3 different spiritualists by the village head and villagers, who revealed that they cheated and offended the spirits of 4 innocent persons. The 3 spiritualists went further to tell them that God, gods, deities, and the spirits of the dead were fighting them on their behalf. And that is the reason for the sudden deaths of Imam and his deputy, which takes place every Eid-al-Adha day. The spiritualists told them the only solution to the mysterious deaths is for the villagers and the congregation to stay indoors, fast and pray for 7 days uninterruptedly to seek for forgiveness and mercies from God. The villagers and the congregation stayed indoors, fasted and prayed for 7 days uninterruptedly to seek face of God for forgiveness and mercies. After 7 days of fasting and prayer, the unidentified masked men who set the Amorin's house on fire confessed openly and died after vomiting blood in the village market. One of the arsonists and murderer is a son of former village head who died 20 years ago, while the remaining 2 were his childhood friends who were non-indigents of the village. In the following year, Eid al-Adha Festival Day prayer was observed in the village Grand Mosque with no record of deaths. The village head and all the villagers were very happy and they rejoiced till daybreak in a carnival-like manner at the village square and in their respective homes, whining and dining non-stop.